Hi, I just wanted to do, like, I've got a few videos because I've had loads of insights over the last day or two, but this one is going to be super quick and super short. Now, I was acknowledging that in my connection, I was getting really triggered by hot and cold behavior and someone not being willing to like take a full in chance. And it's something that I've had happen a lot. And I really realized that actually, and it really only hit me last night, like, I am not claiming that person either. Like, where I feel them like constantly backing out and thinking about backing out, so am I. I'm like constantly like, they've really annoyed me. I don't think I can go through this. Like, I don't know if they like me enough. So all of that is just coming right back at me. And I actually realized something, that it's actually really important to just claim it as yours. Because otherwise you've just got so much split energy, like, oh, I want them, but actually they've like pissed me off, and I want them, but like I don't know if I want them because I've done this, and all this like external projection, and then it creates like you having this hot and cold thing, and then that gets mirrored back at you, and then you blame them and you're like, they're hot and cold. But you've like created that energy within you, and you've like projected it, and so that's what you're seeing back. So I actually think like there's this really important step of just like claiming it and being in that really pure energy about it. But that actually can require a lot of work as well, because I'm going to do another video on this, but it really can require like a lot of mirror work and like resolving your triggers, because if ever there's like blame or anger or upset, like anger is always an underlying like pain and upset. Like, you're never just angry for being angry. If you're angry, you're in pain, and one of your wounds is being triggered, and you're like, rather than cry and be vulnerable, you're like not even allowing that. You don't want to take the responsibility that it's your pain, so you just project it. Like, anger is the biggest form of projection, because it's like, I'm just gonna like cover up the fact that I'm in pain and I'm sad, and I'm just gonna blame and attack like externally. So it's always covering a pain. And so before I got my like connection back into my life, I had a period where I was manifesting them. Well, I couldn't stop thinking about them, so I was like, I'm gonna manifest them. But then I was like, had this undercurrent of like anger, and like, I don't really want them back because of XYZ, but then I can't stop thinking about them, so I'm going to manifest them. And there was like this, I'm manifesting them, but then there was at the same time this like resistance of, but I don't know if I even want you, and I'm kind of still angry at you, and it's like this split energy like this. And I was doing that for ages, and actually once I'd done enough work on myself and I stopped projecting and I actually mirrored all my hurt and upset, and it took me a while to do this, like to really integrate it. I went on one of my like highs where I didn't feel any split energy. I was just very in the moment, and I scripted that day, and I visualized that evening at a sound bath, and I visualized us kissing, and it was very pure. And it's the first time since we'd been together before, and even then most of the time my energy was split for like a good while. So I was creating more and more like rubbish, and then as soon as I got into this energy where I wasn't angry, and I wasn't like, oh well, I kind of want them because I still feel them, but I don't want them because I'm so angry with them and they need to come back and do this. As soon as I like dropped all of that, and I had this deep visualization of us kissing. Within 2 days, I was living that experience, and everything was like, you know, I want to start from scratch. Like, you know, I'm never gonna, you know, all the things that I wrote down basically. And I really felt it. It was dropping that anger and integrating it as my own wounds. As soon as I did it, that, like, it just showed up. And it's because it just wasn't splitting the energy anymore. And I think it's like in part claiming it as well. It's like, I'm not even going to focus on all these other things. I'm actually going to claim it, and I'm going to stop, like, in my own head being like, oh, I'm going to, and that takes you owning that everything is your creation, because you don't claim it when you're looking outside of yourself and you're like, oh, well, I want them, but they've done this, and I don't know if I want them because of this. Like, you're basically like losing all of your power, and you're hot and cold, and then you're creating like the hot and cold back. Whereas if you are coming from a place of like, I claim this, I claim them as my person, and I'm gonna do like anything that comes up that doesn't feel like that. I'm gonna do that inner work, and I'm gonna mirror it, and I'm gonna neutralize that charge so that I don't have this like split energy of I want them, but. And I think like a lot of people that are struggling to reconnect with somebody they have a really strong connection with, if they're honest with themselves, or if you're experiencing hot and cold, you want them, but, and then an outer projection. I want them, but they hurt me. I want them, but they're a player. I want them, but I don't know if they can treat me right. I want them, but there's always like a condition. And I have seen that when you can let the condition go, and you can come from like a real place of purity and a real place from like claiming it, that it can just show up like that. And I think claiming it is like a way to get into that energy. Just like refusing to like project and go into the story of it. I'm just claiming it. Because when there's a but, it's always because you're aligning with the external rather than understanding it's an inner journey. So I think for those of you getting hot and cold behaviour and struggling to bring somebody back, really look and question if you're saying you want them but, and then some kind of external projection that you've put onto them and then created. And it's really hard. I mean, this is not an easy journey, and it's almost impossible at times not to externalize and blame and to, you know, take ownership of your creation, but it just has to be done. And if, you know, you need a break from it because you just can't face it that day, that's fine, but then you just get back on it the next day. And, you know, that really will bring a lot of change. So I hope that helped.